Awards are being presented tonight to three very deserving people, and one person unfortunately can't be here, the CEO of RBC, but he'll be joining us at another time. So to introduce our next speaker, many of you will remember this gentleman. He's the originator, or one of the committee, sorry, he keeps giving me these looks when I say that. He is one of the committee who originated the Young Alumni Achievement Award back in 2011. For which our next presenter is one of tonight's recipients. So Dr. Ian Goulden, please.
Thank you, Mark. It's wonderful to have two young alumni here today. I feel really quite old, but I don't need a cane, at least to be up here. It was fantastic to hear Joanna's presentation. And I was remarking before her talk about how wonderful I thought it was to break the stereotype of mathies and no personality and only formulas, although I'm the no personality type, of course. That's why they kept me at the university and didn't send me out into the world. So it was wonderful to hear Joanna's presentation about fashion and her fantastic company that she's built from scratch. Our second Young Alumni Achievement Award winner today is, you really do look very young to me. And this is very impressive for an old guy. William Zhou. William received his B Math in 2015. He sounds to me like a serial entrepreneur because in school it started his first business. He said very modestly to me it was just building websites and that sort of thing. And we all know that it's much more involved with that. But he now has that behind him. You sold that? Great. He is currently co-founder and CEO of another venture called Chalk.com. And Chalk.com is used in schools, educational software, from kindergarten to grade 12, I understand. And he just told me that it's in use in 200,000 schools. 200,000 teachers? Fantastic. Across largely North America, but also in the UK and further afield. He is a winner of a Forbes Top 30 Under 30 award. And he's going to tell us more about his fantastic company. And with my congratulations, William, I'll turn things over to you.
Good call. Hi, everyone. Certainly hope you all enjoy this afternoon. So what I want to talk about today is a little bit different, right? Typically, these type of things I get to talk about, how we all built the startup, how we built the business. But today, I want to talk about how my business built me. A little bit different, right? Shake it up a little bit. And really, we had started this company, right, called Chalk.com. I'll give you a little bit background. And for us, it's about helping schools to improve based upon data, right? Data about informing what decisions they can make, what decisions to make so they can have better operational efficiency, better outcomes, student outcomes or student achievement. And we help teachers with whether it's their workflow, their to-dos, their planning needs, all of those sorts of things, right? So I can talk hours and hours on end now about education, believe it or not, but today's not this, right? Today, I want to give you a little peek into how we built up this company, just a couple minutes. But I want to talk about three different stories, right? Three different stories about really how this business shaped who I am today. So let's take it back a little bit. 2012. For those of you who don't know, this is the Velocity Residence, right? One of our residences on campus. And this is really where the ideas started coming together, right? This whole thing came from really my own teachers. And teachers who I thought, well, your job is relatively easy, right? You just get up here and talk and deliver, and that's it, right? It's not the case, right? That's not the case. And in fact, these were not just mentors, they're now friends. And every time I visit home, which is Vancouver for me, I go listen to their stories. And believe it or not, every time I hear something new, something different, and just how much of a struggle, how much of a pain they have in their workflow, right? So we started with this concept of really just helping my own teachers and broaden it from there. And boy, was that rewarding, right? Boy, was that actually helping out real people, right? People that I knew, people who shaped who I am during high school, right? And you all may know about startup. This is probably one of the images that in your mind, and we actually lived through this in 2013, which at the end of 2013, we actually went full-time. So this is in one of the Velocity garage at the time, and you can sort of see, there's this picture at the background, there's a bunch of Nerf guns that we actually, funny enough, didn't get to play all that much because we're so busy just coding away. But it is really rewarding, right? Seeing really just you creating something out of nothing, okay? And of course, the pizza box adds to this picture, right? Didn't position it this way, but we had a lot of late nights, right? A lot of late nights, coming home at, after midnight, just coding away and building this original product. That was something that we almost ourselves now romanticize about, because it was just this magical moment where we didn't have to worry about anything. We didn't have to really think about anything apart from just the product itself. And in Waterloo, we have amazing talent, right? We have some of the greatest computer scientists. We have amazing technical talent. We can build amazing products, right? And this is what we did. We knew how to do it, so we did this, right? But then really comes the challenge, because you're not just building a product, you're building a business. And quite frankly, it was rather difficult when we did go full-time, and things were really tough. We did not know how to tackle this market. Quite frankly, we didn't really know much about the market, right? It came out of a desire to really help, right, personally, help my own teachers. So when we looked at the market, how do we bring it to market? How do we sell? How do we get customers? How do we convey our ideas? Well, that's hard. Nobody taught us how to do that. We don't know how to do that. And I remember we ended up really our first year with, I believe, 80 subscriptions we used to sell to teachers back in the day. Horrible idea, did not work out at all. I ended up with a couple $1,000s in the bank, right? Not a sustainable business, and it just was not working. So we had a choice to pick, right? Either continue down this path or really just seriously look at what we're missing, right? And we did. We looked at what we're missing because we realized, first of all, boy, building a company is hard. Okay? It's really, really hard. There's a lot of complex components. And when you make something, right, this product, making something isn't just enough. They're not going to just come flock to you. What we found was that, upon seeing my peers, right, I visited school districts, I talked to superintendents, I talk about, what are the issues they're facing. I talked to my entrepreneurial peers in the United States. Boy, they're really good at conveying their ideas. They're really good at the soft skills. And that's when I started to realize these soft skills are wildly underrated. Because at Waterloo, we are so good at the technical component, but I think this is one point we're really overseeing today. And so really want to focus our attention today on three things that I've sort of picked up over the years, and by no means this is encompassing everything, and there's a lot that we have to all learn. But just to give you an idea, we improved on our craft. We now know how to convey these ideas, and today, this is progress, right? We've learned, and this is the progress that we have today. 200,000 teachers we have reached, which is the equivalent of 3 million students, right? And you really see that taking off as we learn more and more. Articles, Forbes to Huffington Post, they're saying great things, right? Chalk.com is like the Microsoft Office for teachers, right? So, and at the end of the day, when it comes to education, when it comes to delivering these software, it's rewarding, right? Everybody, I think, in the company knows that. You're fixing something, you're actually solving somebody's problem. You know that it's impacting, right? And you know that it has an impact. And I think that drives a lot of our decisions. So with all of that, right, just a short synopsis of our company and how we came to be, I want to talk about these three things because this is really relevant to me. From building meaningful relationships to expanding your perspective, and 3, stepping out of your comfort zone. So we'll just go through each one bit by bit. Got a little bit of a story to share in every one of them, and at the end, happy to obviously take questions and answers because I think it is relevant, right? I graduated 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, right? And coming from the position of applying to co-op jobs, internships, to now we're vetting hundreds of applications, right? So let's start with the first one, building meaningful relationships. So many times, right? I think we all understand this as students, as people who are growing up. People are telling you, you need to network. You need to know people. You need, essentially to get to know people, you need to have a network, but nobody tells you how to build that network. And I remember when we started, right? So when I started, I guess as you define being an entrepreneur before the word was cool, I started my first company in grade 10. It was, we were helping out companies build out websites, right? In a more sort of modern fashion, and eventually we started productizing some of our items that we did. And I remember at the time, even starting that business, people said, well, you should get to know more people. You should go to these meetups. You should meet more people, expand your horizon, do all these sorts of things. It sounds very, very relevant. And I thought, being a 16 years old kid, and saying, well, I should probably get out there. Well, let me tell you how. So I grew up in Vancouver, and we have these chain stores called Linden Drugs. And they're pretty much like a drug mart, right? You have a lot of necessities, such as this Avery double-sided printable business card. So I bought these, okay? I bought these, fed it through my printer, and printed out business cards, right? 20 business cards per page, I think, at the time. And guess what we designed it in? Microsoft Word, right? We would design it in Microsoft Word. Sometimes it doesn't line up, but it does good enough a job, right? Put our logo there. We printed it out. And when you print it out, it's this one giant sheet, right? You break it apart, and now we have 20 business cards. Now I'm feeling really good, right? Because I got it in my pocket, going to these meetups, and I don't know how to network, right? I'm going, what am I supposed to do? So guess what we did? My then co-founder and I basically went to these meetups, and we would just start saying hi, give our business card, and walk away. We had no idea how to actually build any meaningful connections. And in fact, we were so shy that all we wanted to do was just give away these 20 business cards that we would hold to all these meetups. Sometimes we don't even give them all the way, right? Which is a wrong metrics. So this is what it looks like. Ignore the hairdo. It's a different time back then, okay? And of course, we'd rather take pictures than actually talking to people, right? We didn't know how to talk about ourselves. We didn't know how to talk about our ideas. And this was a big issue, right? Later on, of course, what we learned was that it's about quality, not quantity. Right nowadays, I barely even carry any cards. It's about, well, can we rather have 3 good quality conversations that I can add value to you, and you can add value to me, than go out and print out these printable business cards and hand them out, right? So we've learned a whole lot. And I think this is something that it's not immediately trivial, but it's very applicable to, say, students like yourself, right? You are applying for jobs. And believe me when we say, we get a lot of email, right? Dear hiring manager, guess where that goes? Straight in the trash can, right? And so when I got this, right, I get these kind of email. This is yesterday, literally yesterday, right? Looking for insight, free coffee involved. Didn't have to say that. But legitimate email, wanted to grab 20 minutes and showed his interest, clearly knew what he was talking about. It's things like this that now captures at least my attention, right? It's things like this that really, look, if you want to have a quality conversation, I'll invest the time as well, right? But if you're just blanketing, dear hiring manager, that doesn't help anybody, right? And I hope that's relevant because I know it is the co-op season. Interviews are going to start very soon. And so really for us, for me, myself, I've learned that, wow, that when you start building up these actual meaningful relationships, boy, are they helpful. And part of the reason that we are where we are today. Now, as you talk with more and more people, you get to sort of expand your perspective, your horizon, and whatever that is, because you can maybe think about one thing. Somebody may contribute, come into the conversation, think about something else, build on an idea, and soon enough, it'll be something totally different, right? Whereas if you worked on it in silo, you couldn't really get to. So expanding your perspective is hugely important to me. Now the next part I'm not really proud of, but I will show you what it is. This is actually my transcript, okay? 2011, in my 2A term, not my proudest moment. I've definitely got better grades than this. Introduction to combinatorics, okay? In my defense, Lots was going on, a little bit tougher class. But by the way, that has led me to find my current co-founder because I always went to him for homework help, which is great. But here's the thing. Whether it's this or whether it's the fact that I recognize I love computer science, I love the subject matter, I love everything about it, but here's something where I realize is even more important, right? And maybe this is after the fact that I've realized it, and that is when you started actually diversifying. What I did, as a computer science student, we had a lot of freedom. Kudos to math faculty. We had a lot of electives to take. I started dropping in. This was modern art history, right? Learn about pointillism, learn about all these fascinating things that I did not understand when I was just coding along, right? That had an implication in our design today, right, as ever. I took speech communications, public speaking, right? Probably the most nerve-wracking thing. You are told, right, in speech communications class, everybody would write a topic, and you pull one out. You had 10 minutes to prepare on a topic you have never even heard about, and to talk a minute in front of the whole class. Nerve-wracking, right? Couldn't have done it before. Now I'm doing it, right? One day, my good friend said, would you like to come to my film studies class? I said, why not? Because we're going to watch a film, right? This is brilliant. I love this class already. We ended up going several more times, Citizen Kane, Singing in the Rain, all these different types. Amazing, right? It just builds on your character and widens your perspective as a human being. And another class I will say is anthropology. I remember taking that and really, really loving the differences in cultures that they were teaching us. And guess where that impacts us today? Because we're a global company. We got to deal with differences in cultures, right? So when I did all this, perhaps I had the foresight, perhaps not. But now looking back, boy, was that a good idea. And the thing is, if you had those chances, why not diversify a little bit? Why not look at some of these other focus areas? And why not almost put together your interdisciplinary studies, right, as students? And so really, this is what I attribute a lot of our current success to, because you think about strategy, you think about all this, it's business, it's tech, it's everything, right? It's not just one field you're studying in. And this has really been instrumental in our success. And really the last part, a little bit cliche, stepping out of your comfort zone. But for me personally, I will tell you, doing this type of thing, it never was easy. Okay, I was shy, computer science, like, let me code, let me do my thing. It wasn't just extroverted guy standing in front of a hall of people and start talking, right? Those are all learned skills. And for me, I remember back in end of 2014, we got this email. We had made some good connections because I learned actually how to network. And at the time, we were just starting, but this email said, hey, would you like to come? We have this amazing speaker spot in Munich at a conference called DLD, which they told me that it's like the TED equivalent, okay? Digital life design. And a lot of great people went to it, right? A lot of top executive, top CEOs went to it. And for me, it was like, first of all, I know nobody there. Second of all, I got to travel halfway across the world to give a talk in front of God knows how many people on a topic that really a company that I've just started not that long ago, right? Scary things. But I had gotten out of my comfort zone and I said, well, why don't I just hit it hard and like just go, right? And it was definitely not uncomfortable, but guess what? Ended up speaking on the stage, ended up meeting some great, amazing entrepreneurs, some great, amazing peers that even today I keep talking to, right? Keep up with. And these are friendships that I would never really made had I not gone on this amazing journey. And it's things like that reminds me every day, boy, I got to put myself out of the comfort zone. Coming into this room, I think the last speaker was speaking on the similar terms in that that's really when you start learning, right? That's really when you're implementing new things or figuring things out, if you're just comfortable every day, you're not learning a whole lot, right? And so, I'll give you a little funny story at this conference. A very interesting project they did, so to speak. And they put together all the tech CEOs and giants, a lot of them were there, into this sort of what they call old masters, right? So they Photoshop everybody's head onto these sort of oldish era clothing. Looks pretty neat, right? See, if I wasn't a speaker and if I didn't actually end up there, I clearly would not have this picture now being Photoshopped and displayed, actually still on their Facebook page, right? They still have this amongst a bunch of other people. But now I can clearly say this is there, and without really getting out there, couldn't have known, right? Couldn't have done this, couldn't really have been where I am today, and all of that, right? Your stage is going to be forever bigger, and then eventually, ideally, you get to the world stage. So those are my 3 little short stories, and I hope the message resonates with you because it really is important to me that we start talking about these soft skills. I think Waterloo, we have some amazing talent. We have some great technical skills. But at the end of the day, if we can add this last component, if we can add this soft skill piece, I think we're going to be golden. So that's us. Whoops. We're hiring at chalk.com. We've been growing pretty rapidly recently. There's applications open on Waterloo Works. There's also chalk.com/careers. Definitely check us out. We would love to talk to you, especially if you're interested in education, if you want to solve a big problem, and if you want to just work at somewhere that's really rewarding and has a big impact. This has really been something that I wanted to talk to the Waterloo community about for a while now, and I'm really glad to be here. Thank you.